रहीम व्यूअर्स, आप देख रहे हैं वॉइस ऑफ टोरंटो टेलीविज़न की लाइव ब्रॉडकास्ट। मैं हूं आपका होस्ट अंजुम मलिक और मेरा और आपका साथ रहता है एवरी वीक प्राइम टाइम विद अंजुम मलिक में। आई होप एवरीबॉडी इज़ डूइंग वेल और आपके साथ बात करके बहुत अच्छा लगता है। एक हफ़्ते के बाद ऑलमोस्ट पाकिस्तान की बदलती सूरत हाल जो है, इसके अंदर बहुत सारी चीज़ें डेवलपमेंट हो रही हैं। इस हवाले से मैंने सोचा है कि नेक्स्ट प्रोग्राम जो हम करेंगे उसके अंदर इंशाल्लाह आई विल हैव couple of journalists पाकिस्तान से और कनाडा से, एंड वी विल हैव अ डिबेट इन रिगार्ड्स टू जो अब सूरत हाल है पाकिस्तान की, उस हवाले से जो कि आर्टिकल 6 लगाना चाहते हैं पीटीआई के ऊपर, उसको बैन करना चाहते हैं। बट आज का जो प्रोग्राम है ख़ास तौर पे वो इस हवाले से नहीं है। वॉइस ऑफ टोरंटो टेलीविज़न पे आप सारे हमारे शोज़ देख रहे हैं। आज का जो प्रोग्राम है दैट इज़ मोर टू डू विद द मेयर ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन मिस्टर पैट्रिक ब्राउन, और ख़ास तौर पे जो ब्रैम्पटन के जो इश्यूज़ हैं, जो प्रेसिंग इश्यूज़ हैं, उस हवाले से आज हम उनसे बात करना चाहते हैं। और ख़ास तौर पे फ्रॉम लास्ट ईयर ही स्टार्टेड द क्रिकेट टूर्नामेंट्स इन ब्रैम्पटन इन कनाडा व्हिच ही इज़ बीन रिकग्नाइज्ड फॉर। उसकी बड़ी बज़ है शहर के अंदर। तो पाकिस्तान से भी बहुत सारे क्रिकेटर्स जो हैं वो शुएब अख्तर और बहुत सारे और लोग भी यहाँ पर आ रहे हैं अगस्त के अंदर। तो वी विल हैव अ चैट विद हिम इन रिगार्ड्स टू दैट इन फ्यू मिनट्स। इसके साथ साथ ब्रैम्पटन के अंदर बहुत सारे ऐसे मामलात हैं जिसके अंदर के वहाँ का जो क्राइम है, जहाँ वहाँ हाउसिंग के जो क्राइसिस हैं, उसके साथ साथ वहाँ पार्किंग के जो इश्यूज़ हैं, टेनेंट एंड लैंडलॉर्ड का जो इशू है वो बहुत बड़ा एक संगीन मसला है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं जो कि करीब में कॉलेजेस में पढ़ते हैं वो ब्रैम्पटन में रहते हैं। उस हवाले से बहुत सारे मामलात हैं। तो जो सिटी ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन है उसने कुछ पेनल्टीज़ जो हैं वो भी लगाई हैं लैंडलॉर्ड्स के ऊपर और इवन टेनेंट्स के ऊपर। इस हवाले से भी आज हम उनसे बात करेंगे। और ख़ास तौर पे ये जो क्रिकेट का टूर्नामेंट होने जा रहा है, इसकी क्या तैयारियां अभी तक पहुंची हैं और आगे कहाँ तक ये सिलसिला चलेगा। और ऑब्वियसली पैट्रिक ब्राउन वांटेड टू एक्चुअली प्रमोट दिस टू ए मच बिगर स्केल, बट वी विल डिस्कस विद हिम टुडे। ही इज़ नॉट इन टाउन, but I'm very thankful that he is making some time with me tonight on my show from out of city, and he's going to be joining us on a video call. He's not with you at the studios, but he's going to be joining me on a video call, and we will talk to him in regards to that. Voice of Toronto Television आप देख रहे हैं सारे IP चैनल्स पे, फेसबुक पे लाइव हैं, यूट्यूब पे लाइव हैं। और ड्यूरिंग द प्रोग्राम अगर आप मेयर पैट्रिक ब्राउन से बात करना चाहते हैं तो आप हमारे स्टूडियोज़ के लाइन में आप हमें कॉल कर सकते हैं। दैट इज़ 905-670-4114। हमारे स्टूडियोज़ के लाइन के नंबर हमेशा हमारे स्क्रीन पर रहते हैं। यू कैन गिव अस अ कॉल एंड टॉक टू अस। आप हमें फेसबुक पे भी लाइव देख रहे होते हैं, अगर आप चाहें तो आप हमें फेसबुक पे मैसेज कर सकते हैं। यू कैन आस्क द मेयर इन रिगार्ड्स टू एनी क्वेश्चन यू हैव इन माइंड। अगर आप स्टूडेंट हैं और आप ब्रैम्पटन में रहते हैं, या आप न्यू इमिग्रेंट हैं और आप ब्रैम्पटन में रहते हैं और आपके मसले मसाइल हैं, बहुत सारी परेशानियाँ हैं, उस हवाले से भी अगर आपको कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो आप हमसे बात कर सकते हैं। सिटी ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन जो है उसको आप रीच कर सकते हैं डायल करके 311, जिस तरह के 911 से आप पुलिस सर्विसेज को कॉल कर सकते हैं। सिमिलरली सिटी ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन को आप 311 डायल करके भी आप सिटी से बात कर सकते हैं और अपने बहुत सारे इश्यूज़ जो हैं आप उनसे डिस्कस कर सकते हैं। और उसके साथ साथ उनकी बहुत सारी ऐसी इन्फॉर्मेशन होती हैं जो कि 24 घंटे जो हैं वो अवेलेबल होती हैं उनकी वेबसाइट के ऊपर। सो वी विल डिस्कस ऑल दोज थिंग्स विद मिस्टर पैट्रिक ब्राउन टुडे, and I think we have a caller with us. Hello.
Hello, this is Gaurav.
Hi Gaurav, go ahead. You are on Voice of Toronto TV live.
Yes, I was just watching you, and how are you guys doing? All good?
Very well, thank you so much Gaurav, appreciate that.
I was just seeing Voice of Toronto, and I was just seeing Brampton issues, cricket tournament, Mayor Patrick Brown. So my question is, what are the precautions City of Brampton is taking because of these rains happening and all those cricket grounds for the kids which are getting flooded? So what are the amazing steps the city is taking for that?
I will be asking the mayor in a minute. He will be joining us on a video call with me. He is waiting to be joined with us. But if you stay with me, let me see if he's available, and we can talk to him.
No worries.
We can talk to him and see if he's around with us. Hi, Mayor Patrick. How are you? Good evening tonight. How are you?
Good. Good, good. And I just heard the question, and we actually hired about a year ago. We're the only city in Canada to have done so. We hired a recreation person specifically assigned to the maintenance of the grounds. And so, if we have extreme heat or extreme flooding, that we have staff to start working on it right away,
Yeah.
advised by a technical specialist in the field of cricket.
So I have a caller with me, Gaurav. I have Mayor Patrick Brown listening to your question. Go ahead, you can ask the question, and he is going to answer it to you. Go ahead, Gaurav.
Hi, Mayor Patrick Brown. How are you doing?
Good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the thing is, because of the torrential rains that happened in the city of Toronto, Mississauga, and Brampton, I was seeing, especially at the place near Embleton Road and Heritage, many cars were getting struck off, and people were finding it difficult to commute to their office spaces, right? So just wanted to, understand from you if the same things happen, how well the city of Brampton is equipped to help people from the rains.
Yeah,
Thank you,
we are seeing
Gaurav.
more
Appreciate
extreme-
the
Yeah, we
call, and please stay tuned for the answer. Thank you so much.
No worries, thank you.
Yes, Patrick.
We are seeing more extreme weather, whether it's extreme heat, whether it's winter chaos or flooding like we've seen. And so when it comes to the cricket grounds you're asking about, we do have a specialist in the city that works on the fields to make sure that they meet the best standards of cricket. And we work with the conservation authorities, both the Credit Valley Conservation Authority and the Toronto Region Conservation Authority, on flood mitigation efforts, and also the cleanup that's required afterwards when you have a major dump like we had just the other day.
Okay, okay. Thank you for the answer, Patrick. You are a mayor of a very diverse community that lives in Brampton. Muslims community, Sikh community, Hindu community is huge. I was looking at some stats today. 97,000 Sikh community people live there, and 37,000 or so approximately Muslims and the other communities. It's becoming huge, and being a mayor of a diverse city like that, you must be having a lot of challenges at your hand at all time.
And the numbers could be even larger than
Yeah.
you said. The latest estimates I've heard of, Brampton's seen extreme population growth, so the numbers are likely significantly higher. But we lean into our diversity in Brampton. We're proud of it. We don't run away from it. No matter what global problems exist in Brampton, largely we see harmony. We see neighbors who like their neighbors. We see coworkers that work with their coworkers. We see classmates that like their classmates. And diversity works in Brampton. And it hasn't been a significant challenge.
I'm sure it is. In just a nutshell, Patrick, if I can ask you this, on a given day, what is the role of a mayor, where you are in city of Brampton? How does the day go about when you come into the office?
So sometimes it's a bit like drinking like out of a fire hose, in the sense that on the weekends I probably have on average 15 to 20 public events a day. On Wednesdays our city council meets. On Thursdays our regional council meets. On Fridays, quite often I'm attending to police board responsibilities because I'm on the Peel Police Board. And then Monday and Tuesday we try to cram in as many meetings as we can. And when I have free hours, we're working on sort of the bigger projects in the city. And on many occasions, I have to lobby the province or the federal government to get support for key projects, which means going and making a pitch down at Queen's Park or in Ottawa at the House of Commons. And so, I would say there's never enough hours in the day, but I enjoy it. And, what I love about politics and public service is that you can see when you drive around your city the results of your work. My background is I'm a lawyer. When I went to the courthouse, I didn't necessarily see the results of the work you put in. But in politics, you really do.
No, I'm sure. It's a very, very tedious job, and I believe you're doing, a very justice to it for the last so many years, and that's why you've been re-elected since you've been people's mayor, basically. So that's a great thing. Let's talk a little bit. First of all, a lot of issues that I got. I posted about on the social media. You're going to be on the show today, and I got flooded with a lot of questions from our viewers. And some of the questions are first of all, and that has to be do. First of all, the first question is the crime and the drugs in the city of Brampton. Let's put a little light on that.
So, crime around Canada is an issue, and it's why I've been so outspoken about this. When I was elected mayor 6 years ago, I took a different approach. I said, make sure you give the police the resources to do their job. I felt that we were underfunding policing for a long time. And since I've been mayor, we've been playing catch up. When I got elected, we had one of the lowest population to police ratios in terms of the per capita policing area. It was abysmal. Since I've been elected mayor, we've been adding about 150 officers a year. It used to be 25 officers. Now it's 150 a year. We've added the first new police division in 40 plus years, and we're investing in policing. We're giving them the tools to do their job. But it's policing's not an easy job. There are more calls to 911 than there's officers able to respond. We've got difficult issues like extortion. Car theft in Canada has skyrocketed beyond belief. We've become the source country in the world for stolen cars. Not to mention human trafficking that we see works through the nexus of Pearson Airport. This is a complicated region with not just criminal activity that you'd expect to see in Canada, but international criminal activity. But I've got great confidence in the police. I believe we've got the right chief of police to combat this. But I've gone to Ottawa to push for help when it comes to auto theft.
That was my question coming to you after that.
I've gone to Ottawa to talk about bail reform. For me, it's frustrating when I see the same criminals get arrested again and again and again and get released again and again and again. I look at the Henderson Bellman case where there was a lady who was killed by her former intimate partner, who was released on bail 5 times. 5 times. We had an auto theft case recently where someone got arrested for stealing a car. They go and get bail, walk out of the courthouse, and steal another car from the parking lot in the courthouse. And so, I'm going to do everything I can to keep Brampton safe and Peel Region safe, but I do need the federal government to clean up the criminal code. There are too many loopholes, and we're not going to solve this issue in Canada until the government really gets focused on criminal justice reform.
So recently you were in Ottawa a few weeks ago, and you managed to get some scanners for the train, the logistic people who are shipping out the stolen cars. How's that project going?
So 80% of the stolen cars are exported through the rail lines to the Port of Montreal, and those are considered federal jurisdiction. A Peel police officer is not even allowed to go on the rail line in Brampton or in Vaughan. Those are the 2 rail lines in the GTA. And a police officer is not allowed to, without a warrant, to even go on the port. The Montreal police can't go to the Port of Montreal, and so it's these interjurisdictional barriers. What the police told me they need, and the reason auto theft is 10 times the rate in Canada than other countries, is because other countries use scanners. They look at the shipping containers and make sure there are not stolen goods. And so I've been pushing for scanners. I want one at the intermodal hub in Brampton, one at the intermodal hub in Vaughan, then we cover the 2 rail lines, and I want 4 at the Port of Montreal. So far, they've given us 1, and they promise more will come. So my ask was for 6. We have 1. That's progress. I thank the minister, because for years they were saying it wasn't needed. At least they acknowledge now that it's needed. My Anjum would be this. If you go to the airport and you walk through those x-ray machines, if you had 1 out of every 6 passengers use an x-ray, but 5 of them could just walk through with whatever they want, it wouldn't work. So just like we take security seriously at the airport, we need to take the security of our rail lines and our ports seriously, because right now they've become really an export tool for the drug and auto theft industry in Canada.
No, you're right about that, and I think this is long awaited. We need those fundings, we need those scanners, and this thing needs to get stopped. I want to focus a little bit more on a lot of more issues that I was asked to ask you today, since we are talking after a little time today. Affordable housing, mental health struggle, and especially parking lot issues especially in Brampton. So let's get a little bit of answers on those. But I'm going to let my audience know that I have our beloved Mayor Brampton, Patrick Brown, with us, a very dear friend as well, and very vocal on a lot of things. And if you have a question, like the other gentleman just called, if you would like to give us a call during this live transmission, our numbers are always on the screen. That is 905 670 4114. Go ahead, Patrick.
So, in terms of affordable housing, we continue to make significant in affordable housing. There's a long wait list, and this gets funded by the federal, provincial, and local governments, all contributing. And we know that there's a housing crisis, but the affordable housing wait lists, unless we get more funding from senior levels of government, are not going to be reduced. Right now, you look at the wait list, about 7 years. We've been pleading for more funding. We even put the first $100 million up ourselves with our Peel Region Affordable Housing Plan, part of a $333 million commitment. But yeah, there's a housing crisis in Canada, and you look at housing prices in Brampton or Mississauga, or you look at Vancouver or downtown Toronto. They're just, I don't know how a young person affords a home right now in Canada.
Yeah, no, I know. It's a big problem. Now, in regards to
you said parking lot issues. What
yeah,
parking lot issues?
a lot of time people ask, there is not too much parkings available in Brampton when they go in the city, when they go around in the city, especially when they're coming to downtown core. If there's any, I mean, I know there was some construction going on at some time and the road was closed, but I think the road is open now. But let's put a little light on that, please.
So we don't really have parking challenges in the downtown, because we have the City Hall parking lot, we have the Rose Theatre parking lot, and we also have the downtown parking garage. So I feel confident that we have adequate parking.
Okay.
We have had some parking pressures at the CA grounds when we have certainly when you have a kabaddi tournament and a cricket tournament at the same time, you're going to have major parking challenges. But there's also issues with parking in residential areas. And one thing I'll stress is people need to remember that the parking you're given is based on the zoning of your home. And so sometimes you'll have someone that runs a house as a rooming house, and they'll have 10 cars. That's not something that is permitted. And so we do need some of these negligent landlords to clean up their act, so we don't see cars littered on residential streets. And it creates a problem for us in the winter. When we do our snow removal, some of these streets that we have cars littered all over the street, it means that we can't remove the snow. And so being a good resident, being a good neighbor, means taking responsibility for not having more cars than you're permitted under your zoning.
And what is the number of days that people can park their cars on streets? What are the rules, bylaws right now for the city of Brampton?
So every street is different. So there are different parking rules in different neighborhoods. And so I just encourage everyone to abide by the rules that exist. It's complicated in the sense that under the law here in Ontario, we have to ensure that emergency vehicle can get through. And so a street that's more narrow may only be allowed parking on one side of the street. If there is a broader street, then you might have parking on both sides of the street. It's really based on the nature of the neighborhood.
Okay. Patrick, we're going to go for a 2 minutes commercial break. It's important. We got to run those commercials as well. And please stick with us, and I'll come back to you in about 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you so much, viewers, for watching Voice of Toronto TV. And we have Mayor Patrick Brown with us. If you have any questions, please pick up the phone, give us a call back after the break. Our studio lines are 905 670 4114. We're coming back. Thank you so much.
prices. Contact Anjum Malik in Canada on 905-965-4786.
Nasser Shah presents Mega Mela Halal Food Festival and Property Expo, 10th August 2024 at Brampton Fairgrounds. Artist performing Shazia Manzoor, Mulku, Sara Altar, Joji Ali Khan,
ये जो हल्का हल्का सरूर है, ये जो हल्का हल्का सरूर है, ये तेरी नजर का कसूर है.
Shabnam Majid,
यकदम रुवा गई चन्ना तेरा शुक्रिया
Falak Ejaz,
जिंदगी सकून चा झुमरा दे शौकी है ऐसा.
and many more. For more information and stall booking, 647-712-7000.
तेरा मेरा है प्यार चाहे तो कदमों में सब रख दूं, ये जीवन का कर मांगे तू मेरी जान नजर कर दूं. तेरा मेरा है प्यार अमर.
Welcome back, viewers from the break. You are watching Voice of Toronto Television with me, Anjum Malik, और मेरे साथ हैं आज Mayor Patrick Brown, and he is joining us from out of the city, and we are discussing with him in regards to some pressing issues in Brampton for the residents, and some parking issues, some of the other issues that we discussed earlier, the crime, the drugs, and housing. And he's with us, and he's back with us. And welcome back, Mayor Patrick. Thank you for staying with us during this transmission, and thank you for coming along. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Now, let's. I just got a question during our break, and the question was, is there any safe injection sites as they are in Toronto and the city of Brampton as well, Patrick?
So, Peel has a safe injection site on their property at 10 Peel Center Drive, and that sort of regional complex. I would note it's not something I voted for. I was part of the minority at the Region Appeal Council that voted against it. It's something that Bonnie Crombie, when she was mayor of Mississauga, pushed at the region. I have not seen a business case to support safe injection sites. I don't like the results of the ones I've seen in Toronto and Vancouver. So I'm going to continue to look at ways to prevent them from being set up in Brampton. I've written the province opposing the one that they want to locate at the regional building. I want to help people with addictions, but I think there's a better way to do it than safe addiction sites.
Okay. What is your take, Mayor Patrick, down in the South? You just saw what happened, the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. What is your take on that? And is this going to think he's going to be the next president of the United States?
So it really speaks to how emotional and how overzealous the political debate is in the U.S. The fact that you'd have people resorting to violence is unfathomable. That's not something that can ever be tolerated. I hope that those responsible are held fully accountable. Whatever you think of Donald Trump, relying on violence is um, eh, horrendous criminal behavior. And I think one of the challenges the U.S. has is they have gun laws that are some of the most liberal in the world, and there are more guns than cars in the U.S. And so the prevalence of guns in their society is a significant problem.
Yeah, yeah. And we up here, we pay the price for them doing that.
90% of the guns that are found in crimes in the GTA are smuggled from south of the border.
That is true. That is true. Let's talk a little bit about Patrick. August is next month. Last year you managed to get the tournament going, and all the limelight was Brampton. I covered it live so many times. I was there myself. And what do people of Brampton expect this year? And who is coming,
Well,
and
yeah.
when is the tournament starting?
Well, Brampton continues to be the cricket capital of Canada, and it was great to see so many Bramptonians playing, including the captain Sabin Zafar on Canada's national team as they
Mm.
qualified for the T20 World Cup for the first time, and they beat Ireland, so they did well. They made us proud. But we're continuing to invest in cricket here. Our youth cricket is set up. We approved the cricket stadium. Will have Canada's first ICC sanctioned a cricket facility. That's going to be a 4-year construction timetable, but I look forward to hosting major international matches in Brampton, in Canada. But yeah, we have our annual event this year. It's going to be the 4th edition of the GT20. It's a temporary stadium that's being set up for the purpose of this tournament. We got some big names coming. You look at David Warner, the famous Australian cricketer, is coming. From Pakistan, because I know you have many Pakistan viewers. Anjum, we got Babar Azam, we've got Shaheen
Babar Azam, yeah.
Afridi, Babar Azam and Shaheen Afridi. That you can't get two bigger names from the current national team. So excited to welcome them back to this tournament. So we're going to have some of the top-notch cricket players in the world here in Brampton for the tournament. It runs from July 25th to August 10th. And we're looking forward to having a real beautiful showcase of cricket. And for those that have not fallen in love with cricket like we have, I would just tell anyone, watch some of the highlights from that World Cup final. That catch at the end of the game that India made against South Africa was extraordinary. Cricket can be so exhilarating. You get a close match near the end of the game. It can just be a real beautiful sport to watch.
Would it be broadcasting live as last year? Same thing?
Yeah, so there's a number of TV agreements. Last year, the television audience was 153 million. Our goal is to go beyond that this year. They've got major broadcast deals.
153 million.
They got major broadcast deals in Pakistan, in India, in Australia, in the United Kingdom. Last year, CBC covered some of the games,
Yes.
and we imagine that they're going to be partaking again this year.
Okay. And when are the teams are arriving into Canada?
So opening game is July 25th, so the players will start arriving before that. And one thing I did last year was I hosted a number of player meet and greets in Brampton. I had Shoaib Akhtar, Wasim Akram, among others, who did Shahid Afridi, who did meet and greets in our Garden Square. And so my goal is to get these cricketers out in the community to meet residents, to meet cricket lovers. And one thing I want to do this year is I want to get some of these players to come out and teach some skills to some of our young cricketers.
And what are the denomination of the tickets for people who are watching it tonight to come and watch this? All these 2 weeks of events that's going to unfold.
Yeah, I know they've reduced the ticket prices to make it more family friendly. It's all on the GT20 Canada website, but the goal is to make it very affordable for families to come to enjoy, and looking forward to seeing some big turnouts for this tournament.
Okay. And what is the prize money for the winning team?
I don't know what the prize money is, but I know last year they all got rings The ones who won the championship all got gold rings.
I'm sorry, you got cut off there. What was that?
Yeah, so I don't know what the prize money is, but I
Okay.
know last year I was there. I was there for the final, and all the players who won were awarded large gold rings. So I'm
Oh,
sure that the
okay.
couch was something worthy as well.
August 10th, I just ran a commercial for Nasser Shah. He is bringing in this Mayfield Expo and also the musical extravaganza that's going to happen from Pakistan. All the artists are coming. How big is this Mayfield, the ground, and how much people they can hold?
Well, this is in Caledon, I believe, so just outside of my vicinity. I'm not sure what the capacity there would be. I think he's also coinciding it with a halal fest, and Nasser Shah
Yes.
is a friend of mine, and so I always wish him well. And he has a history of putting on some pretty special events. So I imagine this will be no different. I'm sure it will be a large, boisterous, fun event.
Yeah, yeah. Now, another one of the questions that came to me from one of one of our viewers, and that was in regards to you came up with some stiff fines for the landlord and tenants living in Brampton because of this encroachment that people have in their basement. Like last time we were discussing, you mentioned to me that there was a time when people have found about 10 people in one unit. So what are
25.
those new rules and laws that's going to be, and what kind of enforcement is going to be there?
So not really new rules and new laws. We're just enforcing the
Yeah,
old
enforcing it,
rules.
yes.
And so before we had a lot of landlords who were not abiding to fire code or building code. And for too long, the city turned a blind eye. And every year we see basement fire fatalities. Every year, at least twice a year, I get a call from the fire chief, and you've got some crowded basement apartment, and we see a needless, senseless loss of life. 95%, 99% of landlords are good landlords, but you got some bad apples. Just yesterday, we had a fire in Peel Village, and they found 19 students in one single dwelling. 19 students just yesterday,
Oh, wow.
in a fire. And so these unscrupulous landlords who treat their tenants in a vicious manner that you wouldn't even see in the third world is unacceptable. And I've had some of these slum landlord spokesmen call me and say, Mayor Brown, I supported you. Can you turn a blind eye to this? And my response has been no. I don't care who you support. I'm not going to turn a blind eye to fire code and building code. When it comes to the health and safety of residents in Brampton, we're going to enforce the laws on the book. And so some of the worst slum landlords in the city over the last few months we've been cracking down on very quietly. We've been using the legislation that was passed. Previously, the city didn't have the right to go and inspect. Now that we have the right to come and inspect under the legislation, we are enforcing fire code violations and building code violations. And what some of these slum landlords have done is absolutely atrocious. I'm tempted to share on the internet some of the photos I've seen. They're treating tenants like cattle. They're treating tenants that worse than you'd see in some mass producing food farm. And we're not going to tolerate that. These people, these slum landlords who treat tenants like dirt, they're criminals, and they should know if they don't clean up their act, the city's going to come down with the full force of our legality on them. But frankly, if someone dies in your basement apartment, the police should be charging you as well. If someone dies in your basement apartment, that's criminal negligence, and it's happened in our city. That's a
Yeah,
sad reality. And Jim, we twice a year we lose people to
yeah.
basement fires and these slum landlords.
Now, are you having any talks with the builders that they can come in Brampton and you're offering them some land at a cheaper price, that they can offer some subsidized housing to be built to offset? I mean, we have a huge problem in the city in general about the housing, but in your area, to offset that problem, is any plan on your table that to work with the builders?
So we work with builders. We're not allowed to give away legally. It's prohibited in Canada to give away land to for-profit corporations. But we do a lot of work with the not-for-profits. So Habitat for Humanity, there's a number of other organizations that are not-for-profits like Habitat for Humanity that we're working with, that we've given land to, but we can only give land to a registered not-for-profit. We cannot do so to a for-profit developer. And so there has been a number of projects in the northwest and the northeast of the city where there's been those type of partnerships where they're for building affordable housing.
Okay, okay. So we can see some subsidized housing in the future in Brampton?
We're always building subsidized housing, yeah, but the challenge is the wait list is just so long. The wait list is about 7 years.
Okay, okay. Another question that came to me from one of the viewers, and that was in regards to Algoma University. And I had attended a lot of their meetings, and you were there as well. Now, the housing facility that they are building, which is a dormitory, what is the completion date on that? Do you think that when it would be completed, so at least it can house some of those students who are looking
Yeah,
for...
I got to give Algoma credit. Their president, Asma Vesna, is doing the right things. I challenged her and I said, you got to build housing for the students. You have 5,000 students. You need to build housing for them. And, she took that to heart. She announced a partnership with a developer where they're building 500 student housing units. They're going to build more. The construction is already underway. I'm told the permits have already been issued, so hopefully that will be functional in a matter of months, as long as the construction takes. But this is the first of several that they're going to do. I understand one of many partnerships. They're committed to having housing for all their students. I just wish every other college and university was as committed to this as Algoma. But Algoma was the first to commit to this in Brampton.
Patrick, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I look forward to seeing you at the cricket field in the next few days to come. And I wish you all the best as usual, and we'll get you back again within the next few weeks. And once these tournaments are over, we'll get you back for a wrap up and some of the updates.
Okay, sounds good. All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye. व्यूअर्स ये थे हमारे साथ मेयर पैट्रिक ब्राउन, और हमने इस छोटे से प्रोग्राम में कोशिश की बहुत सारी जो क्वेश्चंस हमारे पास आए हुए थे टू एड्रेस दोज. आई होप जिन लोगों ने क्वेश्चन किए थे कम आउट टू यू some of those information that he have shared with you. Voice of Toronto TV @gmail.com हमारा email address है for feedback, और give us feedback. What would you like to see? बहुत सारे कुछ ऐसे नए shows जो हैं वो भी हम अब शुरू कर रहे हैं, and you keep on watching and give us a feedback on all the shows that we do. This is how we can get better, and we can change our content and bring a better substance into the content as well. मेरी कोशिश ये होती है प्राइम टाइम विद अंजुम मलिक करंट अफेयर के प्रोग्राम में that I can talk a little bit of politics, bring in some politicians, get some discussions going. But we have a lot of other shows. We have a new show Discover Toronto, जिसमें कि शहर के अंदर जो इवेंट्स हो रहे होते हैं, जो फंक्शंस होते हैं बहुत सारे, इस शहर की जो खूबसूरती है, जो सबर्ब में टोरंटो और सबर्ब के एरियाज़ हैं, उनको भी हम कवर कर रहे हैं. तो उस प्रोग्राम पे भी आप फीडबैक हमें दीजिए. रोशनी एक हमारा प्रोग्राम है, उसका नूर इस्लाम हमारा एक प्रोग्राम है, इस्लामिक प्रोग्राम. वुमेन पावर जो है वो उसका सीज़न 4 विल बी स्टार्टिंग. असद रज़ा डज शो मनी मैटर्स. तो इसी तरह बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम जो हैं दे आर फॉर यू, बट डू गिव अस योर फीडबैक. वॉइस ऑफ टोरंटो TV @gmail.com. I'll come back to you next week inshallah with another guest. Till then, a very good evening, a very good night, and thank you for watching Voice of Toronto Television. Bye bye. Assalamu alaikum.